All right, everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today, we're going to be doing a deep dive on something pretty wild. We're talking about Donald Trump's idea that Kash Patel might be the next FBI director.
Yeah, this one's a doozy, and I think you've given me a whole stack of articles about this, so we'll try to break it down.
We're going to break this down. I mean,
Oh.
this is crazy. This is like a potential earthquake in Washington.
It really is. This is a window, I think, into how Trump views institutions and the role of law enforcement in politics. So
It'll be fascinating. So we're going to look at, like, who is Kash Patel? What's his connection to Trump? And then, like, what would it mean for the FBI if he actually was in charge? And plus, we'll unpack some of the strong reactions this has been generating.
I think one of the things we'll see is that there are very few neutral parties in this story. Everyone has an opinion, and you're either cheering or you're really worried about what this means.
Yeah, buckle up, folks.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. Who is this guy, Kash Patel? He seems to have come out of nowhere, but he's a pretty big deal in Trump world.
So Patel first kind of rose to prominence when he was working on the House Intelligence Committee under Devin Nunes.
Oh, yeah, Devin Nunes.
Yeah, big Trump supporter.
Yeah.
He was really instrumental in challenging the Russia investigation. You know, all those allegations about Russian interference in the 2016 election.
Right.
And Patel was right there with him.
So he was kind of like one of the leading figures in pushing back against that.
Absolutely. He was a key player. He actually co-authored the Nunes memo with Devin Nunes, which argued that the FBI surveillance practices in the Russian investigation were flawed.
So right off the bat, we see that this is someone who's willing to take on, established institutions like the FBI.
Exactly. That's a theme you'll see throughout his career. He later worked on the National Security Council. He became chief of staff to the acting secretary of defense at the Department of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, consistently moving up the ranks. And all the while, he remained close to Trump and very much aligned with Trump's policies.
So it seems like he's always been like a Trump loyalist through and through.
Absolutely. And that's important to keep in mind, I think, because Trump has this vision. We've talked about it before.
Oh, yeah. He wants to shake things up.
Yeah, he wants to shake up institutions. He wants to remake them in his image. And so picking someone like Patel to lead the FBI would be a huge step in that direction.
I mean, the FBI, it's like one of the most powerful law enforcement agencies in the world.
Yeah.
It's not just some small department. He wants to put a stamp on that.
And Patel has some ideas about how to do that. He's actually proposed some pretty radical reforms for the FBI. Like, imagine this. Downsizing it, stripping it down, maybe even turning the FBI headquarters into what he calls a museum of the deep state.
Oh, hey, wait. Museum of the Deep State. What does that even mean?
So deep state, this is a term that Trump and his allies use a lot to refer to this supposed network of bureaucrats who they believe are working against them within the government.
Like a conspiracy almost?
Exactly. And so Patel, using that language, Museum of the Deep State, it sends a really strong signal. He's saying that he views the FBI as part of the problem, not the solution.
So basically he's saying he wants to come in and clean house.
Yeah.
Dismantle what's there and rebuild it the way Trump wants it.
And that goes back to what we were saying before about Trump wanting to remake these institutions in his image.
Right. And I think, this really connects with all of Trump's criticisms of the FBI over the years. He's repeatedly called it corrupt. He said it's politically motivated. He's accused them of spying on his campaign. So it all fits into this narrative that he has about the FBI.
Yeah, it's like this deep distrust of the FBI.
Yeah, and he sees Patel as someone who shares that distrust and who's willing to go to extreme lengths to fix it.
And it's not just the FBI either. Patel's also been pretty outspoken when it comes to the media.
Yeah, he's a big critic of the media. He's very much in line with Trump on that. He's talked about wanting to crack down on leaks to the press and make it easier to sue journalists. There's this one quote where he says, "At the Department of Justice, we're going to come after the media that is hostile to the president." Whoa, so he's basically echoing Trump's attacks on the media, that whole enemy of the people kind of rhetoric.
Exactly. And that's something that a lot of people are worried about. If you have someone in charge of the FBI who is openly hostile to the press, that could have a chilling effect on investigative journalism.
Right. Journalists might be less likely to dig into stories if they're afraid of being sued or targeted by the FBI.
Exactly. And, the free press is so crucial to a healthy democracy. It's one of the pillars of our system. So to have someone in such a powerful position who's basically threatening the press, that's a huge red flag for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's concerning. So I'm guessing the reaction to this potential Patel appointment has been pretty divided.
Oh, yeah. It's incredibly polarized. You have people on one side, Trump supporters, people who align with his agenda. They're cheering this on. They see Patel as a hero. They think he's the right guy to clean up the FBI, root out what they see as corruption.
And on the other side,
You have people who are terrified. They see Patel as unqualified. They point to his lack of traditional law enforcement experience. He doesn't have that background.
so they're basically saying, like, he doesn't have the right experience to lead the FBI.
Right. They're also really concerned about his partisan approach. He's so closely tied to Trump. He's made his political views very clear. And so they worry that he might use the FBI to go after Trump's enemies or to protect Trump's allies.
So it wouldn't be about justice, it would be about politics.
Exactly. And that's the real fear here, that the FBI would lose its independence and become basically a tool for Trump.
And, we talked about the Museum of the Deep State comment earlier that really stuck with me. It's like such a symbolic thing, It's like he's literally saying he wants to dismantle the FBI as we know it.
It's a really stark image. And it captures this broader fight that's going on right now over the future of our institutions. What happens to institutions like the FBI when someone like Trump comes along and tries to fundamentally change them?
Yeah, I mean, this is bigger than just one person getting a job. This is about, the balance of power in our government.
Exactly. Who has the power? Who controls these institutions? And whose interests are they serving?
That's a lot to think about.
It is. And it's something that everyone should be paying attention to,
Yeah.
If Patel does become FBI director, we need to be watching closely. What changes does he make? What investigations does he prioritize? Does he use his power to go after Trump's opponents? These are questions that we all need to be asking.
And I think, for our listeners who are following this story, it's important to remember that this is not a done deal.
Yeah.
Trump has just floated Patel's name as a possibility. It's not clear if he'll actually nominate him, and even if he does, Patel would still need to be confirmed by the Senate.
Right. So there's still a long way to go. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because if Patel does become FBI director, it would be a huge shift in American politics.
Yeah, it would really change the landscape. All right. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for helping me unpack all of this.
Absolutely. Anytime.
We'll see you next time
See ya.
for another deep dive.
Bye.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.